So the theme we're looking at this year for Lent is trust. And we've asked two questions in prayer so far. God, do I trust you? And God, why do I not fully trust you? Because the reality is all of us trust God to a certain degree, but we also distrust him for a variety of personal reasons. They're personal reasons. And we're looking at those reasons because we can't purify our lives of sin unless we trust God. So if there's a reason that's blocking that trust, that might be the thing that's blocking us from letting go of the sin. Make sense? A little bit of spiritual reverse engineering going on. So hopefully this week you got something in prayer in terms of why trusting God is hard for you personally. This is a very personal thing. And that might have been a bit painful. So just remember to proceed with caution and to not worry. These are very, very deep places that we're examining within us, and one has to be just very careful, very merciful when encountering the personal reasons that we distrust God. They're usually not simple realities. They're usually deeply ingrained patterns of lies. And if we've believed a lie, then we think that it's the truth. Our brain and our mind recognize it as the truth. So that's a delicate matter. So just like a surgeon doesn't go charging into a surgery without doing the proper prep, we want to proceed with gentleness and curiosity, okay? It's not weakness, it's wisdom. The next gentle step that we're taking in the examination of the reasons why it's hard to trust God personally is the transfiguration. Because the transfiguration, it shows us the core of what trusting God is built on. Gospel of Matthew says, Jesus took Peter, James, and John, his brother, and led them up a high mountain by themselves. That's a whole homily unto itself. And he was transfigured before them. That word transfigured in Greek means to be transformed so that the inner reality becomes visible outwardly. His face shone like the sun, and his clothes became white as light. What's going on here? Jesus takes his inner circle, Peter, James, and John. They were the apostles that he trusted the most. And he shows them who he really is. The inner reality of his divinity, which he has all the time, becomes visible to them outwardly for a moment. Here's the question that I would pose for all of us. Do you think, walking down that mountain, that those three guys trusted Jesus more than when they were walking up it? Oh, I think so. I think so, because they knew his identity on a deeper level. This is the lesson for us. Trust is built on knowledge of the other person. Trust is built on knowledge of the other person. Experiential knowledge. So if someone just walks up to you on the street and they just say like, hey, do you trust me? You say, no. I don't even know you. Right? So we just intuitively know that trust is built on knowledge. Here's where it gets a little tricky with God. We can know all kinds of things about God. Theology is quasi-endless. It just goes on and on and on. I'm like, every week I'm shocked at what I don't know. But knowing about somebody is very different than knowing somebody, right? We've talked about this before. We can read the most detailed biography ever on George Washington, and when we're done with it, not know him at all. Knowing someone means that our uniqueness as a person has mingled in some way with their uniqueness as a person. It's a sharing of personhood. Peter, James, and John, they don't just see who Jesus really is like reading a book, they experience who he is in their own persons. This is the path. This is the entire reason for our existence, to experience the three persons of the Trinity, to be drawn into their relationship in our own unique personhood. That's the fulfillment of all desire. Here's the problem. Because of our fallenness, because of our personal sin, because of every lousy thing that's ever happened to us, we sometimes don't see him the way that he is. We can see him, conceive of him, think of him as an old man in the sky that's not particularly interested in us personally, or an angry, demanding father, and everything we do, no matter what we do, isn't good enough for him. Or my personal favorite, the CEO of the universe, that if we constantly work to prove our worth to him, he'll be pleased. And thousands of other variations. The process of purification that we're going through during Lent is primarily seeking to recognize how we thought of God wrongly. And of our own free will, reject that false image, whatever it is for us personally, in favor of the real God. And we don't have to worry about that. A little bit of worry can creep in. And you think, man, have I been thinking about God wrong my whole life? Maybe. But he's not worried about that. He's absolutely not shocked, not surprised that we haven't gotten him 100% right. He knows that we're dust. He remembers who we are, and he has mercy on us in that place. His heart is more like the opposite. He's overjoyed that we're willing to even take a step in the direction of getting to know the real him. So here's the prayer for this week. I mentioned it at our Lenten retreat on Friday. It's one of my favorite prayers because it's soaked in the peace of not having to have it all figured out. It's soaked in that. God, I don't know you, but I want to. God, I don't know you, but I want to. What are we saying in that? We're saying, I don't have to figure out who you are. All I have to do is let you show me who you are, that you're trustworthy. Sit in that space with him this week. Just let him be transfigured in your heart. Let him show you his inner reality. And just in humble anticipation, pray that prayer. God, I don't know you, but I want to.